The views and opinions expressed on Unlock Your Wealth Radio are those of the host, guests, and callers only and are not necessarily the views of Unlock Your Wealth Radio, Heather Wagenhals, or Success Publishing International.
More willpower than a barefoot woman at a shoe sale. Able to stretch a single paycheck for an entire month. Makes money concepts easier than third grade math. Introducing your purveyor of prosperity, Heather Wagenhals.
Work all day, stress all night. Take your mind off your money and focus on your life. Money don't matter or the stuff it bought. It's the way you think, not what you've got.
Yeah, Unlock Your Wealth Radio starts now. Get your money mind right.
Get your money mind right. Yeah.
Bingo.
At Unlock Your Wealth Radio. I am your purveyor of prosperity, Heather Wagenhals, and I am flanked by the maestro of Moolah, Michael Terry.
Hey, folks.
And we are going to help you get your money mind right on today's show with the following great features. We have an outstanding interview about millionaires. If you like millionaires, we're going to talk to Mark Kenney about millionaires. We have a key this week. We have an investor word of this week. But first, before all of that, we have a giveaway this week. So if you like free stuff, and our 13th key in our Keys to Riches financial philosophy is Become a Voracious Reader, I'm going to help you with a free book from our sponsor, Audible. So all you have to do to get your free book is visit audibletrial.com/unlock your wealth, and you can get your special offer for Unlock Your Wealth Radio listeners. You can choose from up to 150,000 titles for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. That website again is audibletrial.com/unlock your wealth. What is this week's key?
No seasonal exceptions.
That it is. And what a perfect time for this key to
Yes,
be rolling around, wouldn't you agree?
Really? The holiday season.
I know. And this is where we get into so much trouble. The reason why the key is structured where it is because it follows last week's key, which is break the budget. And so once we break the budget and create a healthy savings and spending plan, we have to avoid our biological drives to keep that budget in place. And that's what this key is for. No seasonal exceptions.
Yeah, it's a tough one. When I say it, I
it's like the Swedish chef from the Muppets.
Yeah.
So, yes. So, the Keys to Riches went from radio to Facebook Live. Yay!
Yeah.
So, if you want to learn more about this week's key in our Keys to Riches financial philosophy, all you have to do is visit our fan page at facebook.com/unlock your wealth radio, where we will do the key on Facebook Live. And you can also interact with me. You can ask me anything, whether it's about that key or something else. Maybe you missed last week's and you have a question about breaking the budget or whatever it is. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, briefly, the Keys to Riches is a financial philosophy that teaches you how to think like the rich and be in control of your own money. It also gives you specific techniques to create or fix your credit, eliminate debt, save and invest, all while transforming your current financial habits into healthy money management skills. And we do this 1 week at a time, one key at a time on our Facebook Live at facebook.com/unlock your wealth radio. So join in the fun. These things are really starting to take off. People are really enjoying having a Facebook show of the Keys to Riches. And it's really cool because if you have really great questions, I can beam you in now.
It's neat.
Yeah, and so you can, you can be on the Unlock Your Wealth live show.
Yeah, the live thing on streaming live on the internet. That's where it's at.
It's super cool. The features are just amazing what you can do now these days. You need to make sure that you're on Wi-Fi so both parties can jump in. I know I will be because I'll be in studio filming. But for those that are just jumping into the broadcast, you can listen and watch on your regular phone, but if you want to be able to hop in, you have to be on Wi-Fi, so they can have a constant stream to port you in.
Your phone service won't be able to get you in.
It depends on how good a coverage you have. If you're not on the LTE super high, awesome def, whatever bandwidth, then it's really tough to beam in. We were having some challenges yesterday with someone else trying to beam me in, and I was not in a good area, and I was not on Wi-Fi, and so I wasn't able to get in on their broadcast. So just throwing that out there, but it's worth your time to stop by. It'll be awesome.
Cool.
We'd love to have you. So, Moolah, word of the day.
What do we do?
We have a recession for our Moolah word of the day. A recession is a period of general economic decline, typically defined as a decline in gross domestic product, or what they call GDP, for 2 or more consecutive quarters. So that would be 6 months. A recession is typically accompanied by a drop in the stock market, an increase in unemployment, and a decline in the housing market. A recession is generally considered less severe than a depression, and if a recession continues long enough, it is often then classified as a depression. There is no one obvious cause of a recession, although overall blame generally falls on the federal leadership, often either the president himself, the head of the Federal Reserve, or the entire administration. But, here, I got a quick quiz for you.
Yeah.
Or did you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay. No. So I have a quick quiz. What is the difference between a recession and a depression?
Wait, that's a good question.
You want me to answer it for you?
Yeah.
The difference between a recession and a depression is in a recession, your neighbor is out of work. In a depression, you're out of work. But it was not really a quiz. It was more like a joke. But you played along well. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, are you fascinated? Whoop.
Where did that go?
To where phones, the fourth dimension of socks. So, millionaires. You like money, Michael?
I love money.
I love money too.
I mean, the more you make, the greedier and the more you want to hold on to it too. I've been noticing this.
Well, it's not about greed.
Yeah, it could be the wrong
It's
word.
about security.
Yeah.
The more you have, the more you would like, right? If we just interchange, that's semantics play a lot into our financial fears. We hear these isms, if you will, these money isms that, or adages, like a penny saved is a penny earned, things like that, that prohibit people. A penny saved is a penny earned sounds like a great financial adage. But what does that keep doing? It keeps you restricting what you should be enjoying. If you have worked hard and have managed your money effectively, it's okay to spend some of it, especially on yourself, to do what makes you happy, to do what brings joy into your life. So what I have found in my triumphs and tribulations with money is that it's fluid and you need to keep it moving. And so to your point about like having to hoard it, that's not a healthy money mindset.
No.
First. And second, usually when we're trying to hang on to something, our grip loosens eventually and it slips away from us. So we have to be confident and we have to go forth and invest in ourselves and in others in their endeavors so we can reap the benefits and create more security. But money has to be moving in order to make us secure. But the assumption is that we have to hang on to it or we have to hoard it. And that's a challenge because it's contradictory to how money works. Because money's a tool and tools need to be used. You got to work your tools or work with your tools. So that's a big challenge. But, guess how many millionaires there are?
How many?
In America, the U.S. specifically, there are 13,554,000.
13 or 30?
13,554,000 millionaires in the United States alone.
Now, does that include families or just personal millionaires?
It's not delineated to that point, but some of them were born into money, but most are self-made. Isn't that interesting? Additionally, these millionaires are not just lottery winners, and the money didn't come as a particular windfall to them. Most of them had to earn it. So it's kind of interesting. Wouldn't you agree? Here's another statistic that I often cite when I start doing my goal achievement workshops, and that is that 87% of college graduates are millionaires, but not all millionaires are college graduates.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Right. So there's the 13%. I call myself a 13%er because I didn't finish college.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that my education didn't stop there. I find myself that it's curious how I didn't get the, quote, formal education yet when I've been working with different psychologists, brain researchers, scientists about my work that I do. I find that often I keep pace with them. But sometimes I'm ahead of the curve because I've studied more research. I've read more reports. I subscribe to all of the professional journals that have to do with brain and behavior and neuroscience. And it's amazing to me how people put so much faith into having a college degree.
Yeah.
But whether or not you have a college degree, you can still be a millionaire. Because most of the people that I know that have college degrees don't even work in their given profession.
Right.
One of my friends who is an Emmy award-winning cinematographer just shared with me that his degree is in biology. And I don't know how much that has to do with camera lenses, but yeah.
There's a lot of great musicians that majored in God knows what.
You know what else I think is that, or what's interesting, if college is the be-all, end-all, why aren't all college graduates millionaires? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's become, if you've noticed that the shift societally is you must go to college. That's why kids are in so much student loan debt. They come out of college owing $50,000 to $70,000 that their parents kind of foisted on them and they really didn't even want to go. It's really kind of an unfortunate scenario. Yeah. But to solve that, regardless of whether you go to college, we have an amazing guest coming on. Financial professional Mark Kenney, co-founder of SHP Financial in the Boston area, is here with some millionaire money lessons to help us learn how to create the luxe life for ourselves. Mark, welcome to Unlock Your Wealth Radio. We're talking about one of my favorite subjects, money.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. We're going to talk about money and my favorite topic, which are millionaires. And when it comes to success and achieving millionaire status, what do millionaires know that the rest of us just don't?
I think there's a few things that differentiate millionaires from the average person. I think it starts with education. What a lot of millionaires tend to do that the average person doesn't do is actually talk about money. There seems to be a taboo subject, money, and a lot of people don't feel that it should be taught in the home and maybe even in the school. Millionaires tend to teach their children, different ways to make money. So I think they start off with that education, and then from there they can utilize that and make the correct decisions in becoming wealthy.
So what are some of the things that millionaires are teaching their children that average Americans aren't?
That's a great question. So I think it comes down to an overall plan. The set it and forget it method, which is talked about in many books, is the simplest way to accumulate wealth with a set strategy. And basically what it is paying yourself first, right? So you want your money to grow. And when you can put it into the correct vehicles and pay yourself first, you're going to see the most success. So I think just setting up those automatic contributions, whether it be to retirement accounts or 529 college savings plans or even non-qualified accounts, you learn to live off of less money, and you're automatically, contributing money to a plan that's going to grow if correctly invested.
Okay, so what about, so I'm paying myself first, or the thought is to pay myself first. How does the average American who is drowning in debt and pays their debt first ever going to be able to save? What do they need to do to transition to think like a millionaire?
Great question. So first off, you have to understand what your liabilities are. those are debts that have to be met. And then from there, you have to decide, you have to look at your income and budget appropriately. So a lot of millionaires will utilize a simple thing as a budget worksheet, understanding what their expenses are, finding ways to minimize those expenses, which creates more income. You need money to make money. Obviously, people who are born with money are at a better advantage, but we're seeing more and more self-made millionaires nowadays because of the resources out there, because there's information readily available on the internet. There's Susie Orman, there's Jim Cramer. There's information out there that you can access that will make yourself better educated and will allow you to accumulate wealth.
So how do I? So I think you said the word a little bit before about creating a budget. I think that the mindset of the average American is that, well, of course it's easy to make a budget when you're a millionaire because you have lots of money. So how does one overcome that hurdle?
Well, I mean, again, it's understanding what your restrictions are. Also, it's, learning that $1 today, given certain time frames is worth $2 to $4 to $8, right? So you have to differentiate between what a need is and what a want is. I think we've seen that millionaires don't tend to have impulsive purchases. They tend to think about the purchase that they're making, and the money that they do put away are used more into asset vehicles than liabilities, right? And there's certain formulas that I think the millionaires or the more educated people will use, simply like when buying a home, how to budget for a home and what you can afford. It's not what the bank tells you what you can afford. It's, what you can easily afford within your income restraints. And understanding how much should be spent on liabilities like cars and stuff like that. I see a lot of clients tend to purchase cars that they probably shouldn't afford. A car is a depreciating asset. Any money that you put in there, you're never going to see back. Could that money be better suited put into a retirement plan or an investment plan where that money can actually grow? So these are things that the wealthier people look at. We understand that there's bills to pay, you have to feed your children, but understanding where your money is going is going to allow you to be more transparent and allow you to think of ways to save money. We all have income restraints. Even the millionaires, have to live within the money that they make. But again, coming in using a plan will help you do that. And again, I work with a lot of clients that have different incomes, different objectives, and we all try to fit within, what they need and what, how their money can best be suited to accumulate wealth and reach their financial goals.
You are listening to Mark Kenney on Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and this segment is sponsored in part by KeepMyID.org, the only service that actually prevents identity theft. All others are just monitoring services. Put your credit on lockdown with this special offer for Unlock Your Wealth Radio listeners. Visit our website at unlockyourwealthradio.com/keepmyid and click on the link to start protecting your financial future right now. So what other things that let's talk about, isms. I call them money isms, but there are some, beliefs that millionaires have about money that's different than what the average American thinks or believes about money. Give us some of those examples.
Yeah, I believe that, millionaires look at money as an ally, right? They look at that. Money is their friend. They're going to protect money as much as they can. I mean, I think Warren Buffett's first rule of investing is don't lose money. It's too hard to make back. And again, where the middle class or lower tend to, again, stay away from the stuff. Steer clear of thinking. They look at money as, not their friend. Again, it's a negative topic. They tend to, stay away from it. They don't talk to their friends and family about it. And again, they don't want to, open up their mind. Imagine if we did the same for, medical. If we didn't seek out information from people smarter than us and more educated in that field, how much of a difference that would make. So again, I tend to think that people should look for advisors who have more experience, who have more expertise in the matter, and they can add a lot of value to your financial goals.
So there's a perfect topic that I wanted to talk about. So do millionaires set goals? And if they do, what kind of goals do they set?
Well, everyone's going to have different financial goals. I think one pressing issue now that we're seeing is that people want to be able to retire. We can rely less on pensions. More and more, companies aren't offering pensions, so the onus of retirement falls on you. Social Security is only going to cover maybe 15 to 20% of that. So it's really important that clients or the normal person understands that they basically have to create a paycheck for themselves in the future. In that, setting these goals and writing them down has, proven that they're more likely to accomplish these goals, and then tracking them, checking in every 6 months to a year, making sure they're on pace, looking at what their account is valued at and what it can be worth. Something that we do here at SHP Financial is when we sit down with a client in the first and second meeting is show, okay, here's what you have in assets. This is what it can be worth, given average returns in, 5 years, in 10 years. And that creates a lot more transparency where now they can say, okay, maybe I need to save more. Maybe I have 15 or 20 years left and I need to put away X amount. So it's breaking it down to the simplest amount and then allowing them to, utilize time. We all know that starting earlier is going to make a huge difference. $1 saved today is probably worth about $2 in 10 years given average returns, but that same dollar over 30 years is probably worth $7 or $8 given average returns. So something that I stress to my clients and again stress to younger people is starting earlier. That allows compound interest to allow your accounts to grow a lot quicker.
So let's say that I'm an individual and I'm ready to start investing. There is a myriad of different strategies out there, and there's a lot of different advice, and the quality of financial advisors also makes a difference too. What are some good questions that an individual can use to ask a financial planner to see how qualified they are and whether or not their investment strategies align with their beliefs?
That's a great question, Heather. So this is a question that's come up a lot lately. I think there is a lot of people out there that call themselves financial advisors, but there's, the top niche that kind of differentiates themselves from the competition. So what you want to ask first and foremost is, are they a fiduciary? So again, I understand the rules are trying to change and they're trying to implement the fiduciary rule to the brokers out there. But right now, what differentiates us as an independent firm from a broker is that we have to act in the best interest of the client. And we always have, their best interest at heart. And we have to differentiate ourselves by that and kind of, make an argument as to why we're putting them into the certain product. I also am a certified financial planner. It's a designation that is differentiates ourselves from the other competitors. It's highly looked upon, and I think in the future, people will start to seek out certified financial planners. And also you want to make sure that personalities fit. You're going to be, when you take on an advisor, we believe that at SHP Financial, we're taking on a client for life. So we want to make sure that, we're sitting with the right people who value the advice of the financial advisor, who, see the long-term goals, who are realistic in their expectations. And we want to work with good people, right? So I think these are certain things that you should ask of your financial advisor, and make sure that they understand what your financial goals are and how are they going to get you from point A to point B. It's all about adding value to your situation. There's tons of financial advisors out there. What are they going to do to differentiate themselves and add value to your financial goals?
That's great advice. So let's circle back real quick to the second question that you said that we should be asking, and that's, are you a CFP? What is the difference between a certified financial planner? What did they have to achieve from just your run-of-the-mill financial planner?
Great question, Heather. So there's a few different requirements in order to achieve the CFP status. First is education. So you definitely need a bachelor's degree or need to be finishing a bachelor's degree before you can call yourself a certified financial planner. There then is certain education requirements that you must take. I was lucky enough to take my CFP through Bryant University, and you could set your own pace. So it took about 3 years to get through the 6 topics on a part-time basis, and then you have to show expertise in these topics. So there is an exam that you must pass. It is very stringent. I think the pass rate's only about 40%. But again, that's going to differentiate the average advisor so that you know you're working with someone who knows the ins and outs of the different financial topics that you're going to deploy in someone's situation. And lastly, there's the experience. So you need a certain amount of experience in the field to be able to call yourself a certified financial planner. And then once you get the designation, it's not all done. So there is continuous assessment or continuing education requirements that must be met. I think currently it's 30 hours that you must do on minimum to meet the continuing education requirement to stay with the CFP standard. And these are topics that are relevant to the financial industry and its ever-changing parts. So, that's really what differentiates a certified financial planner from a, financial planner or financial advisor, someone who calls themselves that.
So would it be a fair question to ask what their personal track record is with their clients?
I think everybody always asks about return. I think, again, everyone's going to have different financial objectives and financial goals. Now, return is obviously a huge thing, but you have to realize that some clients want to take on less risk or more risk in order to reach their financial goals. So track record as far as, how much return have you got? I know when a client comes in and they first ask that question, they may not be the right fit because what they're looking for is, the best rate of return. And again, that's going to differentiate. That's going to, depend on how much risk they're willing to take on, how much time frame they have, how this account fits in with their overall financial plan. And it shouldn't be the only metric that you measure. Again, you want to realize what value can be added by the clients. It's great if they can set up a plan in the beginning, but if they don't have the follow through. So we believe that we can only take on a few clients per month in SHP Financial because not only does it start when you start the plan, but it's the continuous follow up every 6 months to a year. A lot of advisors or brokers will say, okay, great, the market's down 20%, keep with the same allocation, we'll see you next year, and that's it. We believe that there's more to financial advising at SHP Financial, and we, again, continually meet with our clients every 6 months to a year to make sure that we understand any financial changes that have taken place and what are we going to do to get them to their financial goals.
That's really a great way to look at it because, your average return, if you averaged all your clients, may not be as spectacular if you do have folks that are more conservative and risk averse. So that was a great way to make people think about that. If there was one piece of financial advice that you had to give someone and it could only be one, what would it be?
I would say start as early as you can. Again, nothing can substitute time. You can make $1 million a day, but time is the one element that you can't get back, right? So The earlier you start, the more likely you are to succeed.
Well, thank you so much for our conversation today, Mark. It's been a pleasure learning about your way of achieving financial freedom, as well as our discussion about all the cool millionaires and what tactics they do. If folks want to get a hold of you, have more questions, or are interested in pursuing investing, how do they find you?
Yeah, so we have a website, shpfinancial.com. They'll find a lot of resources available to them, whether it be financial calculators, Social Security strategies, or different white papers that we have. So I welcome anyone with questions to follow up with us, and we look forward to speaking with you.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for dropping by Unlock Your Wealth Radio. And for those of you who are driving around without a pencil, never fear. UnlockYourWealthRadio.com is here where you can visit Mark's show page and click on the link to his financial advising firm and so much more. For the maestro of Moolah, Michael Terry, I'm Heather Wagenhals. Now go out and unlock your wealth today.
UnlockYourWealthRadio.com is produced by Heather Wagenhals and the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation. UnlockYourWealthRadio.com and its affiliates are copyrighted 2017 with all rights reserved. For more information on the Keys to Riches Financial Wellness Series, please visit our website at www.unlockyourwealth.com.